Friends, my name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I am so happy to be here on this beautiful Friday and talking about the theme that we are exploring in this community for the month of March. And that is the third noble truth in Buddhism. In traditional language, the first noble truth is there is suffering. The second noble truth is there are causes and conditions to the suffering. The third noble truth is there is an end to suffering. What we are endeavoring to do in the Spokane Sangha is reimagine some of this language. And the motivation for that is, for me personally, I started playing with words because the word suffering was often quite heavy-handed for me. I'm not always suffering, but I'm often annoyed or, or irritable or confused or upset. And at the same time, I noticed in my own first person experience that even when things were going well, like I was on a great vacation or something like that, even the most positive things could ironically become sources of my discomfort due to my attachment and clinging. So, for example, when I'm on vacation, I'll never forget this. My husband and I, years ago, we were visiting Maui for the first time. And I think after 2 or 3 days, I was just having the time of my life. And one afternoon, I just burst out in tears. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "We have to leave. We have to leave paradise. Ugh, this is so terrible." I was just holding on to it. And he's like, "Yeah, in a week." And so imagine if I had stayed steeped in that projected ending. It's going to end. I would have sabotaged that whole 7 days of beauty and leisure and relaxation. So the point is that even the best things in my life can become sources of discomfort, and there are always conditions to all of it. So the reimagined language that we've been using in the Spokane Sangha for the first noble truth is there is discomfort and comfort. The second noble truth, there are causes and conditions to comfort and discomfort. The third noble truth is when we understand these conditions fully, or at least to the fullness of our capacity in this moment, we can experience harmony. It's beautiful. We can experience harmony. So today, we're going to focus a practice on the cultivation of harmony. What is harmony for each of us? And today, what I'd like to do, because I'm such a wordy little thing, is I'd like to bring forward synonyms and antonyms to the word harmony as a way of just broadening and expanding my scope and your scope for what the word harmony means and how it can emerge as a condition in my life. So, for example, harmony is agreement. So whenever I'm in agreement with somebody, that's a moment of harmony. That's a condition of harmony. Cooperation is another synonym. Here's a good one. Get your pens ready if you're taking notes. Friendship. Friendship is a condition defining harmony, peace, goodwill. Now here are some antonyms. Incompatibility. Incompatibility. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about incompatibility because I think that I want to share with you a little bit of perspective from my experience when I encounter someone with whom I'm not compatible. The word that I really like is animation. There are people that I'm animated with, and there are people that I am not. And it's almost inexplicable. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but have you ever met someone and like just brrr, just yum. Everything about them, can't get enough, just want to get to know them. Everything just clicks. It's just, arrrr. That's animated. And then, have you ever met someone where you meet them, 15 minutes later, you've completely forgotten them? They made zero impression on your psyche. Not because they were good or bad or even neutral, just no animation. You forget their name, you forget the little story they told, just whoosh, gone. Not compatible. Now, why I bring that forward is because sometimes my mind, my immature, egoic driven mind is like, no, you have to be compatible with everybody. You have to be friends with everybody. You have to be nice with everybody. Oh, it's exhausting. The reality is I'm just not going to be animated with everyone, and that's it. No judgment. That's just the nature of things. And likewise, there are going to be people, as hard as this is to believe, who are not going to be animated with me. It happens. Here's another antonym for the word harmony: violence. And that's a bit heavy-handed. And I don't regret sharing it. Because when we think about all the disharmony that we create and construct and curate in our lives, it is violence. It's a subtle form of violence. It's unfriendly. It's unkind. It creates conflict and chaos. It's a form of violence. So just take that in. It is the opposite of being a peacemaker. And then finally, a really good word that is the opposite of harmony is tension. So anytime you feel tension, that is a condition that's like a little tap on your shoulder or a little psst, psst. We're not in harmony right now. We are in a condition of disharmony. We are in a condition of tension, of resistance. Pay attention. Now, one of the things that's very important about looking at the Four Noble Truths is we are not talking about a situation where we try to get rid of all of the conditions that create disharmony. That may be an effort. And it's actually a bit of folly because I don't even know that it's possible. The invitation in the Four Noble Truths is to understand when these positive conditions arise, when these negative conditions arise, understand how they work together, and they do work together for our own sense of harmony. How do they come together? As opposed to efforting of like, no, we have to get rid of anything that's negative. That's going to be the effort. And when we do that, there's a tendency to employ resistance, judgment, confusion. So really, the practice is to create space for the discomfort, for the disharmony, for the violence to come into our awareness fully so we can understand it. We can employ the instrument of peace that you've all heard me say a million times. Wow, would you look at that? Look at that. Wow. I have the capacity for violence. I have the capacity for disharmony for myself. And if I have it for myself, I have the capacity by extension for others. The Buddha's perspective of the Four Noble Truths, this first teaching of his, as it seems to me, when I imagine me hanging out with me and Siddhartha, We're chilling. When I think about hanging out with the Buddha, the motivation I keep hearing over and over is to be an instrument of peace, to be someone who cultivates enough healed presence, enough wisdom and understanding of one's own self that by my very presence, I bring healing. By my very presence, I bring a spirit of peace. By my very presence, I bring an encouragement, a curiosity that encourages people to wake up to their own magnificence. And one of the things that I love about the Buddhist practice is its feet on the ground. The Buddha was never about flying so enlightened, holier than thou over here. He was on the ground, visiting people, talking to people in the trenches of life, getting his hands and feet dirty. And so I take that example to heart, and I want to get my hands and feet dirty just understanding myself. That is a big enough task. So let's begin with a little bit of meditation. And I'd like to share with you a posture. Many of you know this posture and have practiced with me. It's a posture called Saddha, Saddha. And Saddha means faith. Saddha, in a Buddhist perspective, is not faith in some higher power external to me. Saddha, or faith, is full confidence in myself. That's a really key distinction. And Saddha is a posture that we can embody. And I like to think of it as being heart-led. Leading with the heart. That is the posture of confidence. Lead with the heart. And it's vulnerable. Your heart's wide open. So, if you're sitting down, sit in a way that you can sit nice and tall. Be nice and straight in the spine. Roll the shoulders back so you can feel the heart lift. But come into awareness if you notice as you're lifting the heart, if the head is turning up. And see if you can just bring that chin back down, parallel to the ground. And the reason for this is an intentional act to keep the gaze inward. We are all, each of us, defined by Buddha nature, which is limitless in its capacity to love and be kind, to be compassionate and understanding, to be joyful, to be equanimous and inclusive, to be wise. Allow your hands a posture of rest somewhere in your lap and turn your gaze inward. If you want to close your eyes, you can. If that's not comfortable for your body's experience and your mind and heart's experience, then find something beautiful upon which to look. And breathe. Breathing in. I am by nature harmonious. Breathing out. I am by nature peaceful. Breathing in. I am by nature friendly. Breathing out. I am by nature cooperative. That's the first set of breathing mantras. I am of the nature. My nature is, however you want to word it. All of these qualities live within all of us, each and every one of us. It's magnificent. And at the same time, right beside all of those beautiful qualities, we must practice acknowledging I have the capacity for violence. I really like that phrasing. It's an instrument of peace, by the way. I have the capacity to, or I have the capacity for. It's a simple recognition. When I see something that I judge to be negative in someone else, I have to remind myself, oh, just like me, oof, I have the capacity for that. I have the capacity for tension. I have the capacity for resistance, breathing it in. I have the capacity for resistance. Breathing out. I see my capacity for tension. Now, let's put it together. And let's engage the really miraculous practice of Tonglen, where we identify the dark things, the shadowy things. Maybe the word negative will arise in your consciousness here. And we breathe that in. We take it in, fearless, Saddha, confident. We can do it. And let's begin with the hardest one. Breathing in. I have the capacity for violence. And breathe out. I am by nature peaceful. Isn't that a beautiful pairing? There's so much wholeness here. And what the Four Noble Truths encourage us is, if there are aspects, if there are qualities that we have the capacity to engage that we don't like, then we can call upon our nature to bring forward its wisdom and insight to shift those qualities, to heal those qualities. So let's do another one. Heart lifted, breathing in. I have the capacity for incompatibility. Breathing out. I am by nature friendly. Breathing in. I have the capacity to be resistant, tight, closed. Breathing out. I am by nature soft and open. Here's a good one. Breathing in. I have the capacity to be defensive. Breathing out. I am by nature curious. Breathing in. I have the capacity to be irritable and grumpy. Breathing out. By nature, I am kind. Breathing in. I have the capacity to be impatient. Breathing out. I am by nature resilient. Breathing in. I have the capacity to be confused. Breathing out. I am by nature still, clear water. The pairing that you can partner with the breath in this way is a meditative practice to cultivate harmony, to cultivate the third noble truth. It is the full recognition that as a whole human being, I have the capacity for qualities and aspects that I don't like, that I find uncomfortable and not particularly noble. And right next to it, I have the capacity to understand it, see it clearly, shift it with wisdom, heal, mature, and grow. But I cannot do any of that in the absence of space to see it all, to acknowledge it all, to breathe it all in and let it be there. That's what makes me real. That's what makes me present. That's what makes me vulnerable and true. And I'd like to end our practice today with a beautiful moment of mindfulness from Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'll read it slowly in case anyone wants to write it down. It's from his book, Moments of Mindfulness. This is number 9. We don't have to go anywhere to obtain the truth. We don't have to go anywhere to obtain the truth. We only need to be still, and things will reveal themselves in the clear water of our heart. We don't have to go anywhere to obtain the truth. Friends, we don't have to go anywhere outside of the conditions of our own lives to cultivate wisdom. We only need to be still, and things will reveal themselves in the clear water of our heart. Breathing that in. And as you breathe out, see if you can lift your shoulders up and sort of bring them down very gently in an invitation to fully relax and smile. One more time. Breathing in. Ah, breathing out. Thank you, friends. Just bring it all together for a little bit. And one of the things it's almost a habit, really, that happens in the West because of societal conditioning, and that is that we think we have to be one or the other. I'm either judging or I'm forgiving. I'm either sad or I'm happy. And what the Buddhist practices and principles, what the Eastern philosophy teaches us, is in fact both are there at always, always, always. So, for example, when I cut myself, I don't have to look at that cut and go, it's okay, I'm still joyful, and it maybe if I'm joyful, it will hurt less. That's the dualistic mind. The reality is, I cut myself, it hurts, I don't like it. And oh, look, a beautiful butterfly just flew by. And if I'm stuck in that pain and that scenario of my cut hand, I might miss that butterfly. I might miss that laughter. Or I might treat a little whisper of joy as a betrayal to my misery. Nah, I can't notice that. I can't be happy. I'm too busy being frustrated or mad or pissed off. The reality is that we are trying to cultivate, and it is in our nature to cultivate both. I'm always both, right? And so that's what we're working on. That's what we're practicing. So I want to let you know that we don't practice this weekend at all, friends. I'm so sorry. We won't see each other again until Monday. But the good thing is we'll continue our practice on Monday with John at 6 p.m. Josh will be guiding us on Tuesday and so forth. Lo has put in the chat, especially for those of you who are new to the Spokane Sangha, please check out the website associated with this community. It's soulcenter.com, and you'll see all of our Recovery Dharma offerings Monday through Friday. Please know that you can access the recordings that we offer here. We have enormous amounts of content. So you can find us on the website and our audio recordings. We're on various podcasts, and we even have a YouTube page. I mean, you could get like 24/7 Julia, John, Josh, Marty meditations. Seriously. And I do, for anybody who's struggling with rest and sleep, I do know that Marty and my meditations especially are very nice for night time. So you can put those on and enjoy. Email me with any questions or concerns that you might have, any questions about Buddhist practice, recovery, Dharma, resources. Don't hesitate to reach out. If you'd like to make a dana offering, there's ways to be generous. That is also the spirit of a Buddhist practice, is whenever we are in the company and the presence of the three jewels and we are receiving something that is of benefit, it's meant to sort of inspire the inclination to be giving. So it's this reciprocity, it's this mutuality where we receive and we give at the same time. And I don't know about you, but my service here and my practice here, I give a lot, but I receive so much more. It's really, it sounds cliche, and it's just simply absolutely true. Alrighty, there's a couple of other events happening at Soul Center. You can just play around on the website, have a look, see some of our photographs. There's all kinds of ways that you can support us. Check out the tokens of mindfulness for the Julia-ism stickers, and we wrote a book. You can check it all out. Enjoy it. Alrighty, let's come back so that we can end our practice today with a dedication of merit. And let's end on a note of faith, a note of confidence. And again, this is cultivating faith, not in a power outside of you. That's part of it, perhaps, if that's how you have your worldview. I don't want to discredit that or discourage that. If that's part of your worldview and your perspective, allow that to be there. Just know that whenever we're coming into the presence of Saddha, that higher power, that way of being, is also within you. It is you. It is a confidence that matures and grows, not because it's simply just bestowed upon you. You're just sitting there. There's my confidence coming right at me. It's nothing that you just receive. You have to show up to it. You have to show up to you. You have to put forth an effort in your actions. You have to be mindful. You have to have some understanding of concentration. You have to have intentionality and understanding. How do you talk to yourself? Is it wise? How do you talk to others? How are you living your precious human life? I've just shared with you the Noble Eightfold Path, the fourth Noble Truth. This is how we engage in the world. Saddha, with confidence, with faith. And I really like the image of a tightrope walker when I'm in a posture of saddha. Tightrope walkers are never collapsed. Do you notice that? They're always full of confidence. They are assured of themselves as they balance this very precarious edge, going in one direction or the other, always in harmony with the conditions surrounding them and with the conditions within themselves. That is Saddha, a heart-led life. And it is still and clear in this place. It is open and spacious. It is a place of purest delight, where everything is included, everything is allowed, all of it weighed in harmonious balance. We can experience it for one moment or several moments at a time. It doesn't matter. Just notice it. And when you do, notice that its effect shifts your own radiance. And that radiance is what you bring into the world. May it ripple out of you far and wide with warmth, with care, with understanding, with eyes of approval, a heart of joy, a smile of softness, and a presence of solidity, centering, and growth. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, my friends, and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time. Namaste.